And in this example, we're asked to graph the following linear inequality. Y is less than or equal to negative 2/3 x plus 3. Before we graph it, let's take a look at some facts that deal with linear equations. First of all, we have what's called slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is in the form y is equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope and the slope is the rise over the run, and b is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is where the graph touches the y-axis. Also, if we go back to the slope just for a second, you read graphs from left to right just as you read sentences from left to right. So if you read your graph from left to right and that graph goes up, we have a positive slope. That means that the number part of the variable x, which is m, would actually be a positive number. If we read the graph and it descends from left to right, we have a negative slope. So if we take a look at our equation or our inequality, y is less than or equal to negative 2/3 x plus 3, right? And we're going to graph. We're going to use that slope-intercept form. So we're not going to do any x or y charts or anything. We're going to actually just use slope-intercept form. So the first thing, in order to graph using slope-intercept form, your equation must be in the right form. And we can see that this is in slope-intercept form. It's solved for y. So first thing we do is put the equation in slope-intercept form. The second thing we do, and I'm actually going to make a rough sketch. So I'm just going to go out to 5 in all directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative on the y-axis. Right, so we put the equation is already in the right form. The next thing we do is we plot the y-intercept. So as we can see, the y-intercept is 3. So I'm going to find positive 3 on the y-axis. So we have 3 here. This is the y-intercept. The next thing we do is from the y-intercept, we plot the slope. Okay, so I don't go back to the origin. I'm actually going to start plotting my slope at the y-intercept. Before you plot the slope, notice the sign of your slope. So since this slope is negative, we know that our graph should look something like this. So from the y-intercept, I'm going to plot the slope. So our slope is negative 2/3. So our rise is 2. So now your rise can either go up or down. I'm going to go down 2, and I'm going to go over 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. Since I have an equal to in my inequality, my line is solid. So that's what the graph looks like. Since we have an inequality, we need to choose which side of the line that we're going to shade. So we're going to use what's called a test point. And the test point that's commonly chosen is 0, 0. If 0, 0 is not actually a point on the line, it's easy to substitute zeros into your function. So I'm going to go back to my original function, which is y is less than or equal to negative 2/3 plus 3. I'm going to substitute in my test point 0, 0. And if my test point is true, I shade the side of the true test point. If my test point is not true, then I will shade the opposite side. So here I'm going to substitute x for 0 and y for 0 and see if this inequality still holds true. So we have 0, which is less than or equal to negative 2/3. And excuse me, that's supposed to be an x. Times 0 plus 3. So I have 0 is less than or equal to 3, which is true. So I'm going to shade the side of my test point. So if we take a look at x, y, z, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to plot my y-intercept, which is 3. From my y-intercept, I'm going to plot my slope. So here again, notice that the slope is negative, so my line should descend from left to right. So I'm going to go down 2. I'm going to go over 3. I'm going to shade this side, and I have my graph.